Hi guys, it's been a while since I've been on here, but I've been extremely busy and I have plenty of content to show you guys. And this first video that I'm gonna do since I've been gone for a while is gonna be about relationships, and my friend, also known as my little sister, Brianna, is gonna be asking me questions about relationships and how I've dealt with that, along with coping with my anxiety and depression and just different things that tie into relationships. So here we go.
What are some things you guys do to keep great communication?
So communication can be very hard when it comes to relationships because women communicate completely different than men. For myself, I am an emotional communicator. I am not saying that I overreact, but I'm very sensitive, and my husband is completely opposite of me. He's not as sensitive, so like I'm the baby, and sometimes I communicate well, and sometimes I suck at communicating. It depends on the situation, but you can't ignore it. You really can't avoid the question if there's like a problem. So basically, you gotta just find the best way to communicate. Sometimes I write notes, sometimes I give him a card, sometimes we sit down on the couch and talk about it, sometimes it's through texting, which is not always good because then I take things out of context, or we call, and then sometimes that's not good because then I raise my voice and we get mad. So I mean, just trying to communicate the best way you can. Sometimes you may need a mediator to be in the middle of somebody that's completely neutral that can help you learn how to communicate. So there's nothing wrong with, going to marriage counseling or counseling for a relationship that you're in, so you can learn how to communicate properly.
Question number 2. What standards before getting intimate or serious did you have in place to abstain a healthy relationship?
Okay, so this is one of my favorite questions because I love telling this story. So thanks to Steve Harvey on Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, which I read that book in 2 days when it came out. I was in college, it was my senior year, and I had gone through relationships, and I was just intrigued by reading it. My aunt knew Steve Harvey. I had met him once before, so I just wanted to see what the book was all about. Well, I read the first page and I couldn't put it down, and a lot of men don't like that book because it kind of tattles on them and it gives you every man's identity. It tells you about all the different kind of guys there are out there, and then it also gives advice to women on how you should uphold yourself as a lady when it comes to relationships. And I followed every single rule in that book, and I got the ring. So I think it's just really your personal preference. I don't know. It's a hard question because I literally followed the book. The book is really good. If you haven't read it, you should definitely read it. But everybody's values are different, and I was just stuck on just making sure that there was a connection and a friendship first versus anything else. All that other fun stuff can come later, but as long as like the spark's still there and you're going on dates and you guys can make each other laugh and you guys can have a good time but also talk about serious things, then I feel like that's what matters most, is building a friendship before anything else.
Question 3. What are 2 main important advice you can give newlyweds and people who are dating?
Make memories together. What I've learned being in a relationship, I've been in a relationship with my husband for 7 years, but we've been married 5. Definitely travel together, because when you travel together, you learn so much about yourself still, and you learn so much about each other. Like, I've been with him for 7 years, and I'm still learning stuff about him after this long, so it's very interesting. So I say definitely travel together, and then also just keep like fun dates. Like, just do stuff like adventurous, sweet things, romantic things. Just like spice it up and just don't always do the same thing every time.
Question number 4. What are some things you guys do to spice up your relationship?
Well, to spice up
If
the
you
relationship.
know what I mean. Just kidding.
Well, I'm pretty boring. I have an old soul. I'm like a grandma. I can be content like cuddling up at home, watching a movie, or like watching Fixer Upper, home TV networking shows, cooking shows. But I would say, I guess to keep the spice is just do like a date that you would never, like that you would never do. So not the movies, not a restaurant, just something like out of the box. I've even seen on Instagram that I kind of want to try is the date box. I think that'll be something cool to do. But our family life, if you guys know me personally and you're watching this video, our family life is very hectic. We have a lot of kids in this house. Even though we have help, we're always doing something. There's maybe 1 weekend out of the month where we don't have something to do. But I would just say get creative to keep your relationship spicy.
Question 5. What are some things you guys do when arguments arise? How do you handle them?
Oh, jeez. Okay, so when arguments arise, like I said, I'm the sensitive one. So typically it doesn't take me, or typically it does take me a long time to get over something. So sometimes I'll just like go write in my diary and like get my emotions out. Sometimes I will just woosah my emotions and just debrief from like the argument. And then a lot of times I replay the argument that's in my head and I either just write about it and then I let it settle, or then I approach the situation and try to figure it out. But like I said, I'm sensitive, so it takes me a little bit longer to get over an argument because I don't know, I'm just that way. I'm very passionate.
Question 6. How do you guys balance home life, kids, and your significant other?
It's a hard balance. Right now it's like fall season, so with me, I'm balancing teaching, I'm also balancing Happy Feet, managing that. Then I'm also balancing coaching, or assistant coaching our Tigerette dance team, and then also head coaching the hip hop team, so I'm having to stay after school a lot. But luckily I have the help of my daughter, and then Brianna herself, who is like another daughter to me, and then family. It's basically just using like the people you have around you. My neighbor is also helps us too. So it's hard to balance, but as long as everybody works together as a team, then everything is possible. And sometimes it does get stressful, but you just have to be patient, breathe, and relax, because everything is going to eventually be okay and play out how it's supposed to.
Perfect. Question 7. What goals do you have for your marriage?
To just live happily together forever. Nothing is ever perfect. That's just given. Nothing's ever perfect, and marriage takes a lot of work. A lot of people think marriage is like roses and like the fairy tales, like how the Disney princesses are, because as little girls, that's what we dream of, like, oh, the perfect wedding, oh, the perfect life. But guys, it's like another job. Like, you have to work at it, and it takes two people. It doesn't take one. And you have to learn about yourself while learning about somebody else, and it takes a lot of compromising. So as long as you have those elements, then I feel like that can make a marriage last, but both people in the marriage have to want it. So that's one of my goals, is just to live life with my husband forever and ever.
Question 8. If you go into business with your spouse, how do you guys obtain a business relationship and a marriage relationship?
Well, let's see. I've had my business for, since 2011 now. So for quite a while. And then my husband has had his business going on 3 years now. Our businesses take place at 2 totally different times. So we help each other. Usually he helps me record my dance shows, and he's there in the audience helping and supporting. And then for his business, I'm helping as much as I can. And then I'm usually I'm like the concession stand lady. So I manage that and help him shop for it. I wouldn't say that the business relationship really affects it. To me, it's kind of the same. It's like working with your best friend. Yes, there's like disagreements where like I'll give advice and he doesn't like it. He gives me advice and I don't like it, but it's because we're both passionate about our businesses, but I think as long as you're having fun doing it and there's an end goal in mind and we achieve it together, then I think it'll be fine. Our businesses are both family oriented. So for my business, my family can help me within it, and my family has been helping me when it comes time for our recitals. And then same for his business. At the end of the season, we all come together, and even throughout the season, we all help each other and try to buckle down as much as we can. So I don't really think there's a difference. I mean, you still have to have teamwork, you still have to have communication, you still have to have dedication, and you still have to have goals. So it pretty much goes hand in hand.
Question 9. Did you guys establish a spiritual relationship with God before marriage or after?
During the relationship completely. So I had a church that I was going to in college on campus at PV, but then when I left living on campus, then I found out about the church that we go to now, and I fell in love with that church, and I've been there ever since. So I've been at that church since about 2011, and I introduced that church to my family. They fell in love with it, and ever since we've been going. We don't go every single Sunday. I try to go every single Sunday, but hey, life happens. But no, I think it was totally important for all of us to go as a whole. We are a blended family, so I felt like Sundays were our time to kind of bond as a family, do church together, and then, go out to eat afterwards and talk about the sermon. What did we learn from the sermon? So I definitely think it helps if you bring that into your marriage before, like even as you're dating. But then also, you may have two different views of religion with your spouse, and then you guys have to figure out how to intertwine the two, or how to appreciate this religion and appreciate this religion and figure out how to come together. So I think it depends on you as a person, but like I said before, you definitely have to compromise, and you just have to enjoy. I mean, if you love your spouse or you love the person you're dating, whether it's a boyfriend or a husband, vice versa, like you're gonna do whatever it takes to, be with that person and make that person happy. And it should go both ways.
Question 10. What are some things you guys do to help uplift each other when the other is feeling down?
I would just say just be there for each other. Telling each other, like, you can do it, like, you worked hard for this. For example, my struggle with test anxiety. Everybody that knows me knows that I stress out with that so bad, and that's my number one issue. But he's really a good support system for me. He'll push me and he'll say, this is what you went to school for, like, you can do it, you got to stop freaking out. And he'll give me tips on, like, how to study differently. I kind of stress out more than he does. I usually need him more in that area than he needs me more. But I mean, I'm a very supportive person regardless too. So whenever he's down about something, I'm just like, you can do it. Like, you've been there. I guess I would say for the business, like when stuff's going on, like, no, you've got this. Like, this is your thing. Like, you can do this. It's going to be great. And I give advice, and I'm just always there to help. I'm always like looking for ideas to make something better and like letting him know. So I don't know. It's just a part of my personality. I'm just a supportive friend, mom, daughter. I mean, that's just me. Try not to be negative. Be positive.
Right. Bonus question.
No.
What are some things your spouse does to annoy you, and how do you cope with it?
Oh man, that's a good one. Annoy me. Oh, how about not putting the toilet seat down, like a lot of guys like to do, and not put it down for the ladies. What else? Not putting stuff back in the correct spot, because I'm a teacher, and I like, this house is like, there's so much space in this house, so I try to make a space for everything, and I have labels, and clearly the label says chips go here, and you see the label when you open the door, but then I open the door and the chips aren't in there. It drives me nuts. So basically just putting stuff where it belongs. Like, I worked hard to organize it, and then it's like, oh, well, I want to organize it, so I guess I'll just, it doesn't matter, she'll put it there, I'll just put it right here. No, if I organize something, put it where it goes. So I guess that's what stuff like that just annoys me. It's just like little stuff. And what was the other part?
How do you cope with it? Do you
Um,
take a breather?
Yep, I go in my closet sometimes and I'm just like this. Focus, I can do this. It's gonna be alright. Don't freak out. Don't have anxiety. Everything can't go my way. That's what I'm learning. Everything can't go my way. So I just have to tell myself that sometimes, like, I want everything to be perfect, but as the years have gone by, especially after being diagnosed with anxiety and depression, I have learned that you just have to take every day as it comes. And if something doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. You just have to like pray about it and hope that stuff gets better. And then when it's like silly stuff like this, like, oh my gosh, you didn't put this back, or oh my gosh, you left the seat up, or oh my gosh, you left the top off of this, it's just like you kind of just have to like shake your head and just be like, oh, eventually they'll get it. Like, eventually they'll get it. You have to have like a lot of patience with other people and patience within yourself. Definitely.
All right. Love you guys.
Thanks, guys.